we need to put it into our braces, these round braces. Okay, so read from queue, and then we need to add this as a queue URL. Okay, so this is the queue from where we are reading this queue. Okay, and then SQS dot get queue attributes dot get queue attributes, and in that queue attributes we need to specify queue param. Okay, that's the queue parameters, and then there will be a function return that will return as error, either error or data. Okay, perfect. Now inside the curly braces, so now it is saying that we need to also handle that error. Yeah, definitely we will handle that error. So if error, then console.log we can say a possible issue with SQS permissions. Okay, or wrong URL. Okay, and then it will call back queue. Once call back queue, it will pass a message named as error, and there would not be pass any data from here, so the data will be null. And if there is no error, then it will see a queue size. So it will get a queue size. So the queue size will be get from the data, and then dot attribute. Okay, data dot attributes dot approximate number of messages. Okay, and then we need to call back queue with null error. So the error this time, error will be null, and it will also return queue size. Okay, and we need to also terminate this. Okay, so once user will call this queue, initialize queue, it will return here, the queue size. Right, so now let's write another function. So another function is for delete the message. Once message has been processed, it must be deleted from queue. So let's write that function, delete message. Okay, so delete message, and it takes the input as a message. So this message will be deleted, and then SQS dot delete message. Okay, then it needs a queue URL. So queue URL, that's the queue URL. We have already defined that queue URL. And another parameter is recipient handle. Okay, that's the recipient handle. Receipt handle. So inside receipt handle, we have message.receipt handle. Message.receipt handle. And now let's close this with curly braces, and then we have to write another functions. That's the error and data variables, you can say parameters, error and data. And then we need to handle here error. So if error, then console.log, and inside that log we can print error. Okay, and then we can throw that error. Otherwise, if there is no error, then it must print that the data has been removed. Okay, console.log. Now it must print that data removed, and we need to also show here which data has been removed. So this data has been removed, and finally we can give here semicolon, right? So this says that unexpected somewhere, so we can see that where is that ends here itself. Perhaps we have ended it wrongly. I think we must not get here so let's keep it here and let's see whether it is working correctly or not. Perhaps this is extra and we don't need this one. Okay, right, so now we have written our function for delete message, and we have also written message function for our initialize queue. Now we need to call this function initialize queue from our main handler. So initialize queue, okay, with 2 parameters, that's the error, and then queue size, then we need queue size here, and it will then return that queue size. Okay, perfect. And now we need to write this function. So let's write this function. First of all, that we have to handle that queue size and the error. Okay, so here what we can write, console.log, and now here we need to print queue size, okay, and after that we need to see if queue size equal to 0, then it must call back a function. It must call back this function with null as an input, null as an error, and then queue size will be called as a queue empty. Okay, queue empty. Right, and if queue is not empty, now we need to handle our error. So if error, that means if there is error, then we need to report this to the console. That means there is error. Error while initializing queue. And now we can also print that error, so that we can get a deeper knowledge why that error has occurred if there is error. So error dot stack, so it will print error stack, and then finally we can throw this error. Great. Now if there is no error, then we can go overall for processing of the messages which is available into queue. So what we can do as of now, let's save this message, and let's see if this processed by our the Lambda function. So just press it and we will see here. Okay, so here is this one is the latest. So let's see the last 30-second latest. There is no last 30-second latest. So we have to wait for 1 minute so that it can get a new it can process it once again. So at every 1 minute this Lambda function is being executed. At every 1 minute this function is being executed. So in background, as it is executing, in the meantime we can write it, we can complete this code. So suppose that if there is no error and the queue size is not 0, then we can write a for message. So for message, we'll get all the queued message which is in SQS. So the variable I equal to 0, and then I is less than queue size, and then I plus plus, and let's receive that message SQS receive message. So once message is received from SQS, then we need to pass here queue params and two more parameters, one parameter as error and another one as a data. Okay, so here let's check if there is error. So every time we have to check if there is error. So this says that there is unexpected token somewhere, perhaps this one. Okay, so if there is error while receiving the message, it will print that to the console. Error. What we can do, we can just print this error. Error dot stack. Throw, then error. If data dot messages, okay, so if there is some message into the data, now here now the JSON formatter here plays a very vital role. See here, so this whole message is data, right? So this whole message is data. Now this is saying that if data dot message, so here, okay, so if data dot message, now that's mean data dot message means this part. Okay, so if data dot message is not null, then what it will do, it will print that message. Okay, so console dot log, so you can see here message, and that message is data. Okay, so the data dot message. Okay, so this is a message which will be printed there into our